In a world that moves ever so fast, there is one group often left behind. Once the backbone of society, they now sit quietly in the twilight of their lives. Not because they no longer wish to run, but because time has gently carried them into a different chapter. One where silence becomes a daily companion, and the laughter of grandchildren only echoes in dreams. Loneliness in old age is not just about being alone. It's an invisible wound, deep and silent, that slowly eats away at one's spirit, wrapping each day in an eerie quiet. But does it have to be this way? Today, we'll step into the world of the elderly, those who often feel alone in their homes, their thoughts, their hearts. This is more than a story. It's a call to care more, to understand deeper, and perhaps to simply be there. We often hear people say, growing old is a blessing. And yes, it is. But what they don't say is that aging can be a lonely journey. Imagine waking up every morning, in the same chair, in the same room, with no one around to share your thoughts. The laughter of grandchildren, a distant memory. The warmth of holding hands with someone you love, faded. Many elderly are not alone because they want to be, but because life, somehow, made them that way. Their children have grown, moved on with their lives. Friends have passed. The streets are no longer familiar. Days feel long, nights feel even longer. The silence becomes deafening. And in that silence, they begin to question, do I still matter? This is not just about age. It's about being forgotten in a world that moves too fast. The heart may still beat strong, but the soul quietly aches for connection. Her name is Elina, an 82-year-old woman living in a small house on the outskirts of the city. That house was once filled with the laughter of children, the warmth of family conversations, and the sweet aroma of baked goods from the oven. Now, those moments live only as memories, playing in her mind every morning. Sitting in her favorite rocking chair, Elina gazes out the window. The street is quiet. The sky is gray. She waits not for someone in particular, but for something that might warm her heart again. Even the sound of birds feels like a companion. The days pass slowly. The TV is on, but she's not really watching. Books line the shelves, but none are opened. Not because Elina doesn't want to, but because there's no one to share the stories with. Everything feels empty without the presence of another soul. She still remembers her 80th birthday. She thought all her children and grandchildren would come. But one by one, they canceled. Too busy, too far, other plans. Elina smiled through the phone, saying, "It's okay, as long as you're all healthy." But afterward, she cried silently in the kitchen. One night, she tried calling her son just to check in, but the voice on the other end sounded rushed. "Ma, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back later, okay?" That call never came. And that night, Elina sat quietly at the edge of her bed, holding her phone like she was holding on to hope. Loneliness isn't just about being alone. It creeps in slowly, wrapping the heart like a thin fog that eventually weighs down the soul. Elina isn't the only one. Millions of elderly people around the world feel the same, forgotten, unimportant, invisible. What's heartbreaking is that many of them are afraid to speak up. They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to seem weak. They smile on the outside, but cry in silence. They talk to old photographs, reliving the days when love and togetherness were still within reach. Sometimes Elina talks to the plants in her backyard. She even named one rose Clara after her granddaughter. Every morning, she waters it and says, "Good morning, Clara. Grandma misses you." That little garden became her escape from the coldness of reality. Until one day, a new neighbor moved in. A young woman named Mia, who started greeting Elina every morning. At first, it was just a simple hello. Then it grew into light conversations, and eventually, Mia invited Elina to dinner with her family. For the first time in years, Elina laughed out loud while holding someone's hand. Elina's story isn't the end. It's a reminder for all of us that even the smallest gesture can save a soul. A hug, a call, a visit can mean the world to someone who feels alone. Because behind the wrinkled skin and silver hair, there's still a heart longing to be loved. As we age, major changes occur within the body and mind. The brain, once quick and agile, begins to slow down. This doesn't mean a person becomes weak. It's a natural process that happens to nearly everyone. Scientific studies show that aging affects the production of important hormones in the body, such as serotonin and dopamine. These chemicals play a huge role in maintaining mood and feelings of happiness. Their decline often leads to a sense of emptiness that's hard to explain. For many elderly people, loneliness is not just physical, it's emotional. They can be surrounded by others and yet still feel profoundly alone. This happens because the need to be understood grows deeper with age. A study from Harvard found that strong social connections in old age slow down cognitive decline and boost happiness. On the other hand, social isolation speeds up mental deterioration and increases the risk of depression. Another factor is the loss of social roles. When someone retires, loses a partner, or is no longer active in the community, their sense of identity can become shaky. This often leads elderly individuals to question their worth and the meaning of their lives. Not all mental changes in older adults are illnesses. Sometimes, feeling sad or anxious is a normal response to difficult life situations. Unfortunately, many people mistakenly believe these feelings are simply part of aging and ignore them. There are also unavoidable biological factors, such as the natural shrinking of brain volume. Areas of the brain responsible for emotion and memory become smaller, making emotional regulation more challenging. Physical health issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart problems also significantly impact mental health. The body and mind are closely linked. When the body weakens, the mind often struggles too. Sadly, stigma still prevents many elderly individuals from seeking help. They fear being seen as weak or crazy, when in reality, talking to a mental health professional could save their lives. But there is great hope. Science continues to evolve to support mental health in aging. Social programs, cognitive therapy, and creative activities have all been proven to improve the quality of life for seniors. Every smile we offer to an elderly person can become a small light that reignites their spirit. As the days blend into each other, Elina begins to notice how much her energy has faded. The simple joy of walking to her favorite bakery now feels like a distant memory. Her legs, once strong and quick, now tremble at every step. Sleep becomes a luxury she can no longer afford. Nights stretch endlessly as she lies awake, staring at the ceiling, her mind swirling with anxious thoughts and unresolved memories. The meals that once filled her home with warmth and laughter are now taken in silence. Elina sits alone at her kitchen table, poking at her food, the flavors lost to the heavy taste of loneliness. Even hobbies she once adored seem hollow now. The vibrant garden that she tended with such love now lies in disarray, the flowers withering without her daily touch. Social gatherings, which once brought laughter and shared stories, now overwhelm her. The noise, the rapid conversations, and unfamiliar faces make her retreat into herself, feeling invisible in a crowded room. Medical appointments become a central part of her calendar. She feels like a file being shuffled from one doctor to another, her identity reduced to numbers and prescriptions. The sharpness of her mind, once her pride, now feels like a flickering candle. Names escape her, memories fade, and conversations become a challenge, leaving her frustrated and ashamed. A deep fatigue settles into her bones, not just physical, but emotional. Each day feels heavier, and the future seems like a horizon she will never quite reach. Yet, in fleeting moments, a spark still ignites within her. A child's laugh on the street, a familiar song on the radio, or the scent of fresh bread can stir something alive deep inside her heart. And with each small spark, Elina reminds herself, though the path is heavy and the days are hard, her spirit is not yet broken. Hope still lingers quietly in her soul. Despite the heavy battles she faces daily, Elina has never completely surrendered. Deep within her fragile heart, a stubborn flame of resilience continues to burn. She realizes that true strength isn't about lifting heavy weights or running fast. It's about standing tall even when the world seems determined to push you down. One sunny afternoon, Elina musters the courage to join a small community gathering at the park. Her hands tremble, but her spirit marches forward. She meets other souls like hers, people who carry invisible wounds, yet choose every day to show up, to smile, and to love despite their scars. Friendships blossom. Slowly but surely, Elina finds herself laughing once more, a genuine sound that surprises even her. Through shared stories and quiet moments, she discovers that loneliness shrinks when divided among friends who truly listen. Small victories become monumental achievements, planting a new flower, attending a music night, baking her favorite bread again. And with each step, Elina rebuilds a life rich in meaning, showing the world that aging is not the end of the story, but a new chapter of quiet, unstoppable courage. Her journey reminds everyone around her that though time weathers the body, it can never break the spirit unless we allow it. In the golden twilight of her years, Elina stands not as a figure of pity, but as a living testament. Resilience is a silent song, echoing through the heart of every soul who dares to keep hoping. As we look at Elina's journey, we are reminded that age is just a number. Behind the wrinkles and silver hair lies an ocean of stories, laughter, pain, and extraordinary courage. Life doesn't end when our hair turns gray. It is precisely then that a truly meaningful chapter begins. Elina teaches us that every day, no matter how small the steps, still matters. Even when the world feels silent and the body grows weaker, the spirit to endure and dream continues to burn bright within the heart. We all deserve to be valued, heard, and loved no matter our age. Maybe today, there's a grandmother nearby sitting quietly, lost in memories, or a grandfather gazing out the window with empty eyes. They don't need much, just a little attention, a little love, a little understanding. Let us be the bridge. Let us be the voice for those who are starting to be forgotten. By listening, respecting, and loving them, we don't just enrich their lives, we also nourish our own souls. No act of love is ever wasted. Remember Elina. Remember all the elders out there. One day, we too will grow old. May the world we leave behind be a kinder, more loving place, a world where aging is seen as a gift, not a burden. If you feel moved by this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Together, let's raise awareness and share love for the elderly all around the world.